Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial. Well, in this tutorial we are going to learn in this to-do list application we are going to learn how to add item to a list and render it onto the screen. Before moving on, I have installed one library called as mobx-remote dev, which is really helpful for debugging. What I'm going to do, I'm going to import in to-do store and remote dev from remote dev /lib, and when we are exporting this to-do store, I'm going to wrap it this remote dev. This is going to help us debug by using Redux extension. Okay, so we can use Redux extension in mobx as well. So I have installed this Redux extension, that's why you can see this Redux tab over here, and if I refresh you can see there is a to-dos array and I'm looking at a to-do store. Great. So now let us create a to-do store logic over here, and later on we're going to implement in our React component. So I'm going to create an action called as add to do action. Okay, a new to do as a parameter is going to receive new to do as a parameter, and I'm going to push it to to-dos array. But the thing is that I don't want to push the to-dos array in a mutable way. I want to do it in immutable way. So I'm going to do this dot to do's equal to this dot to do's concat new to do. So I'm going to combine this existing to do's with the new to do, and it is going to return a new array, and that is what I'm going to assign to this dot to do's. So we are doing it in an immutable way. Now we have access to add to do action inside of this app.js component. Now for that I'm going to remove this content, we don't need it. I'm going to remove this app intro as well, and I'm going to create a form tag, and inside of this one I'm going to create an input tag. Now I'm going to set a ref over here, and that is how we're going to extract any text from this input. So I'm going to name it as add to do. Okay, and I'm going to create a button. A button is going to have a type of submit. I'm going to name it as add to do, and on submit I'm going to call that function that is going to push to the add to do action. So here in this add to do I'm going to create a function over here that will add to do to state, and it's going to be a function. And let me pass this add to do to state function on submit this dot add to do to state, and it's going to receive an event, and I'm going to call int event dot prevent default because we don't want to refresh whenever this form is submitted. And I'm going to call this dot props dot to do store dot add to do. So I'm going to call this function, and inside of this function what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass an object which has a text property of this dot refs dot add to do dot value. So this add to do is on to do store, and this add to do is a ref value here, this input box ref value. Okay, and I'm going to pass a completed value as false. Now if I hit save, now look at this state over here. I'm going to add learn mobx and click on add to do. Okay, so it's a bug. Let us see what this bug is, and if I inspect, you see it clearly shows maybe on the lines 11 there is a bug. So here there is add to do all lowercase, so I'm going to copy it, paste it over here, and if I hit save it's going to re-render. And okay, so here there is to do's array is empty as of now. I'm going to type learn mobx and click on add to do. You see new to do's is getting added over in this to do's array, and if I hover over it you would see that is completely false and its value is learn mobx. Now you see after adding add to do, the text remains inside of this input tag. What I'm going to do when you this add button is this function is called, I'm going to reset the value to an empty string. Now if I type learn mobx and click on add to do, you see next new to do is getting added, and as well as the text is reset. Text is getting reset. Now I want to render this to do's array over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to render this to do's array. So I'm going to call this .props to do store, or I can also destructure to do store like this, so it's easier to type. I'm going to call this to-dos map return is going to return li, and is going to receive each individual to do and index. So I'm going to pass key as an index to this li, and inside of this li I'm going to type to do dot text, because I want to render the text onto the screen. And if I hit save, now it's re-render. I'm going to type learn mobx, and I hit enter. You'd see this learn mobx is getting re-rendered. So we are able to add to the to-do list, and we are able to render it onto the screen. Now in the next tutorial we are going to learn how to mark this each individual to do as a complete, and also remove it from the state. Bye.